Hello everyone. So today we'll be looking at Node.js with Express.js. So prerequisites for this, I would assume that you are able to install Node.js on your own self. What else? You are okay with JS in general. You can write some JS code, or even if you cannot, just follow the tutorial through or the video through and try to do what I am doing, even if let's say the syntax is not clear at this point. So what we'll try to achieve here is we will try to go from scratch to a project where we have got some APIs. If time permits, we will also be looking at adding a DB to it, but that might not happen today. That might be a different video altogether. So let's try to get to a position where we have a project. There are some APIs. We'll try to consume those APIs through a client like Postman, and I'll go and explain all these terms one by one. So beginning the video now. Okay, so first of all, Node.js. So if you know, JavaScript is a programming language which is usually used to write a lot of like code for the front ends. Mostly front end have all started with front end, and then you can also start writing, can use it to write back end now. So there are number of frameworks or environments where JavaScript can run, and it would try to do something different each time. So what I mean to say that what I mean to say by that is, let's say I've got JavaScript. It has been there since 27 years. The number of libraries you could see, you could have, there are a lot of videos to get you started on JavaScript and get you there. But the thing is, it's simple to use. JavaScript is simple to use, and that is why it helps you build applications at a good pace. And there are full stack developers now who could just know JavaScript and almost do everything that a web programmer would be doing. So JavaScript is what you need to have a basic understanding of. Even if you do not, follow this through and then get to JavaScript again. But coming to Node.js. So Node.js, like I said, is a server-side JavaScript runtime environment, which means that you will be writing JavaScript itself, but in a Node.js environment, which means that the impact of your JavaScript code would be slightly different than what you would be doing in a browser. So on a browser, you're creating front end, creating these components, UI elements, everything. But when you're writing this JavaScript in a Node.js environment, you're basically creating server components. So that is the primary role why you use Node.js. So Node.js is the environment where something will happen. So if you just go to the introduction of it, you would be able to read about it, and you can see that this is a sample code for doing writing a basic web server. So const is constant HTTP. So people who come from Java background would still be able to get it easily. People who are doing Python. So this is just very verbal to use. So you will know exactly what's happening. So you are trying to import a library here called HTTP. You're specifying the host name as 127.0.0.1, which is your local host, the port number as 3000. Then you create a server. This is your request, this is your response. So you could use a request and response here. So I could use something from request here. Nobody has used the request here, but response has been used. So in the response, we are writing the status code is 200, which is okay. Then set header as content type, text plain, and end is this. So when this server, and the last one, the most important one, is server.listen. So you are making the server listen to any HTTP connections here on the port number 3000, the host name localhost, this one, and you are logging something when this request happens. So once somebody loads this website or goes to 127.0.0.1, they will see something like this, while you on your console would be seeing something like this. This is the log that was written. So this is a basic code of writing a web server. Now, like, we are not really interested in writing plain Node.js code today. What we would do is we will try to import another framework or library that will help us write server side code easily. It will help us create APIs easily. So that is Express. So let me just first go to Express and see what could we read about it. So assume me to be in a similar position like yours, where let's say even I do not know something. So what I'll try to browse it as you would browse the web and try to get some information about the tools that we are going to use. So Express is The latest version is 4.18.1. Fast, unopinionated. When somebody says unopinionated, what they mean when a programming language says it's unopinionated, it means that it does not have a specific structure to follow or a specific like guide to follow. You don't have to follow it in a very specific way, very tight way. You are free to use it in a way that you want. So Express is unopinionated. I think Ruby is opinionated, where there is a specific way of doing things. So they have formed this idea that okay, this is the best possible way of reaching to this target, and that makes it fast to develop applications easily. So languages choose to be opinionated or unopinionated, and you can go and use any of them. Just know that what it means. Minimalist web framework. So minimalist means you just need to write less code to do something. Okay, so let's see. Npm install express save. So this is a command that we need to run to make sure that we have express. But before we do that, before we start doing that, let us try to increase the size first of all. Okay, clear. All right, I'm here now. Let us see if we have Node.js installed. So Node.js version, sorry, it is Node version. Okay, I have got version 16.3.0. So anybody who's following this tutorial, you might choose to do the same thing, or you can just be on the latest version. That's okay. So then what we will do is we will try to run this command. Okay, it has started running now. So I do have Node Express. Sorry, I do have Express now. All right. Okay. So what do we do here? So we go to something called as Express Application Generator. Now, to make our life easy, and that is the philosophy I try to follow in programming, is don't try to do everything from scratch always. When you're learning, you can do that. But once you're trying to create an application, the fun part isn't getting the application working, right? Like we like to see what we did. We like to see something visual. We like to see something, on command line, some console logs are coming and everything. So when you start your journey from writing the scratch code, that end point where you start seeing the result of application of the work becomes too far, right? And that is why there are a lot of template generators out there which you could use, and they would create a project for you already. Okay, they will create a project for you. They'll create some template content for you that you can start looking at and then start editing. That will definitely make it easy, and that is why each programming language there are generators and templates already there. So with Express there is this generator that I have never used, and this is the first time I'm going to use it. Though I opened it in the browser, didn't use it yet. So what I'll do is I'm inside the Cybon learning project. Let me create a app directory that says API, right? So we are creating a API, or we'll just say backend. Yeah, let's go inside backend now. ls. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just do an npx generator. Let's see first of all if I have npx, and that this command is true for any application that you want to see. So just write the command name and then write the version of it. 7151. So if it says there's a version, so it means it is installed already. Now I paste the command that I have copied. So let's see what happens here. Need to install the following packages. So it was not there on my machine, so this is the way to install it. Something happened. Do I need to create something? Let's see. I'll run the command again. Okay. The default view engine will not be Jade in future releases. Warning: use destination is not empty. Continue. Yeah. What happened? Okay. If you see, I did not have any files here. Now I have got a lot of files here, which means that it might be ready for action, right? Let's see what happens. So for example, the following creates an express view bug. Oh, okay. What you could have done is something like this. Let's see what it is. Add bug engine support. Okay. The application name was my app. So it created my app folder. Inside it created everything like these folders, right? While we did not, so we created everything inside backend. That is fine. What we'll do now, instead of using this view, we'll go and open this application in our IDE. So I personally use WebStorm, while many of you would be using VS Code, and I'm not quite skilled in VS Code. On the side, I'm opening this on my WebStorm, and I'll bring it on this view in a second, in 5 seconds. Okay, so I have this application now, and I'll bring this here. Now this is a similar structure than what you will get in somewhere else. I'll make my life difficult. I'll try to open this on VS Code and see how it goes. So I'll have to hide something, I guess. It might be my office files here. Okay, it's opening. Okay, good, it's open on second. It opens on second screen. So people who like IntelliJ might be using this view, and I like this because I was an Android developer before, and I started using this IDE a lot. But I know most of the people now use VS Code, and that is what I'll try to do. Let me see if I'm able to work through it or not. Activate extensions. Alright, so this is my VS Code. What I'll try to now do is Explorer, open folder, and I'll open the same folder that I've got here. Harish Vishwakarma. Yep. Cyborn Learning, backend. This is the folder that we created, right? So we are here now. I trust others. Yeah, I'll trust everybody here inside. Okay. Do I remember my commands? Yeah, I remember my commands a bit. Okay, this is going to be slightly tough for me, but I hope it doesn't bother you. I'll just close this. I have these files available right now. Let's go and look at these files. I think that's good. That is a good place to start. I'll try to do Control Plus and see if it reacts. No, it doesn't react. All right. Ah, it does. Okay, so let's look at app.js and package.json. These are the two top level files. So package.json is a file that will specify what dependencies are you using in this project. So dependencies means libraries. So what libraries are you going to use in this project? So I'm using something called cookie parser, debug, express, http address, cheat, morgan, and we can look at them individually later, or you could just search for them on Google. You will find something. But for developers, it is very important that you know exactly what you're using. These names, what they do, what they're used for, have an understanding of them. Script start. So when the project is starting, it will start this particular file. Okay, private something. Okay. Now look at app.js. App.js has now created how many lines of 41 lines of code, and because of the command that we ran earlier. So create error. There is something called HTTP errors library which has been imported. Express, path, cookie parser, Morgan. Morgan, I do not know what it is. Cookie parser is self-explanatory. It parses the cookies that are there. Index users, requires routes index. So in dot routes here they say that the route has been specified, and here there's something called users route has been specified. All right. Express. So app.set views engine setup, path join, app.set view engine shade. Logger. So they are using dev logger, locking to dev, express JSON, express URL encode, cookie parser, cookie static, express static slash index router. So when somebody goes to slash URL, it will be index router that will run, and when it goes to users slash users, it will run users router. All right. Catch 404, error handler. So this is just template code, and this template code are actually good in making you write. not important at this point of time, but let's look at index.js. So somebody goes to slash, which is your something like, let's say something like www.sibon.in. They would reach this function because it's just a slash. It will do a render of index title express, and we will check what it means. While we do that, let me just quickly bring this here. Okay, what I'll do, I think we can remove this now because we are using VS Code, so we'll do half and half. Okay, great. Okay, let's try to run this and see what happens. Okay, so I am here, and the command I need to run is npm install. npm install, what it does, it will go and install the dependencies that we saw in package.json. It will go and install these if these are not installed. So that is what's doing right now. It has not succeeded, and this is done. So I followed this command. So like anybody would, I am also following the same set of commands. On Mac OS or Linux, run the app with this command. Okay, if you're on Windows, you know what to do, right? So you run this. Let's see what happens. Has it run already? Back in start, no, it might be running, is it? Can we go to our local host? Can we go to this address 127.0.0.1? Enter. Connection refused. There was a port number, if you remember. Let's look at the port number. The port number is was this not the file? This was the file, right? So let's see this. Nope. So something is off. What is it? I am missing the point somehow. Something is happening. Let's see. Usually we'll get a proper log here. There's some seems like stuck here. So what are we doing? I'll try to look at this once again. So the server has not been set up here. So app.use/index-router, app.use function, this app.use error handler. But I don't see the server starting, app.listen is something that I have not found yet. If I look at this one, so router.get slash function this, okay. It's not JS, let's see this one. Redis is entering something index file. There is an index file. Public in bin. There's nothing inside it. There's inside. So www file is there. Okay. Port. What port? Port is 3000. Okay. So this was the file. See, even I do not know. All right. So now that we run 127.0.0.1 3000 is the port number because we found it where in the www. How do we know we are looking at www? Because if you look here, node.bin/bin.www, this is the file it is going to render, and this is the file, so it is trying to render from here. Okay, 3000 is what we got, the port number, the server, and that is where it is creating the server also. So it needs to listen, right? And this was the line I was looking for. So where does it listen? So it listens on a port number that is 3000. So welcome to Express. This is working fine now. Okay, so we have got at this point you have a web server. So this is a web server which is running right now. And what you could now do is try to see what are the other endpoints. So what we realize is there is a second route. So index route has just one. So once you click on slash, it will do this. But if you go to users, right? So users like the, yeah, respond with a resource. What is this? Get users listening, listing. And how do we see, what is the impact of, let's say this one. Okay, if somebody goes to slash users, it will go to users router, and if we command click this, we will come to this users.js file, respond with a resource. So this text I think will be printing nothing else. So let's see what happens, right? Slash is slash, if you do slash, it is the same page again, nothing. So slash is what it means. But if you go to users, respond with a resource. Okay, so this is where you will fill your users data. So let's say you are creating this endpoint, you will do that. Let's say I want to just print one user one, that is Harish Shwakarma. This is my name, you can print your name. When I save this, will it take it? Let's see what happens. No, the server is not restarted. So we need to end this and restart this. Now that is restarted, I'll expect it is printing this. Okay, so we have got a web server at this moment, and you could interact with it. You could just create new routes. So this is a user route. So by default it is giving you this, but let's say you were a web application where the users were logging to a system, you would provide the user data from here. So this is the basic application. Now let us try to see what more can we do here. So oh, we had this here, you could have seen. Anyway, basic routing, app.method get send hello world, got a post request, got a put request, got a delete request at user. Okay, so what let's try to do is app.post. So this is a get request. Now let us have a small read about what is get. So what is get, post, and everything in REST APIs. I don't want to say this. So get is, so like these are RESTful APIs, REST APIs, and REST APIs. What it means? Go and look here. REST API. This is a full form of REST, is it? RESTful API representational. What is it? Representational state transfer. Okay, don't bother about it. So these are REST API. So let's look at what kind of endpoints it allowed. Get, post, update, delete. Let's see. Principles. This was a better one. This is a better resource than this. Let's see. Get, put, post, delete. So it will, these are some guidelines to create APIs. So get is something you use when you're trying to get some kind of data, fetch some kind of data from the server, user data, card data, orders data, patient data in a hospital management system, inventory data in any inventory management system. So any kind of system that you're building, the getting the data would be through get APIs. Post is when you're adding something, right? And now if it is will use HTTP post for updating rather than most people recommending HTTP post, all right, still the application interface will be RESTful. So what I understand is that when you are trying to update some kind of data, you go with post. When you try to add new data, you could do it put. But the industry, and I think maybe 80% 90% industry uses post for updating and creating new data. That is what they do. And even for deleting they'll use the same thing, but you could also use something called delete. So these two are most widely used, and most of your APIs could just do these. So Any product that comes would have a lot of APIs, and there will be API doc that will provide you this information. So let's say, we were looking at some, let's say, look, weather API, right? Let's see this weather API. Okay, let's just type here weather API documentation. Weather API, open weather map. So they have got this documentation. Let's look at their API doc. You will see a description. Okay, so you'll see that mhm, mhm. It is giving you the request and response. But let us see more. Manually, daily, historical weather data. So these are just get calls. Like, these are just get calls, because if you are able to open it in a browser, it is a get call. To do post call or put call or delete call, you cannot just write it here and do the call. So you will have to use you'll have to do it for a command line, or you have to use something like postman, which I'll show you in a small while. So these all just get, we could do that, so we need an API key for it. Okay, so what I'll do is, from here, what I'll do is I'll bring, instead of this window, a postman window, and show you how you can consume your APIs in postman. But yeah, I actually wanted to show you more, create more kind of APIs there, but let's see. Okay, okay, so all right, I'll go back here. You can create a collection. I'll create a collection and say this is Ibon, this is backend APIs. Not the best name, but let's go forward with it. All right, add a request. So I add a request. So this postman is a way of organizing your API, documenting your API, testing your API, and mocking your API. So what I'll do is I'll just write here get homepage, and get homepage has nothing, so just URL 127.0.0.1 at port number 3000, and we hit enter. I'll just do like this. It's a big window. I'm not sure if it's visible to all of you or not, but I need to adjust it. I could do this slightly here. Yeah, okay, 127.0.0.1 3000. So when I do this, you see this body Express, welcome to Express. This is what you used to see. So it actually gives you back an HTML. That is your script. So you can also preview it like this, and it will show you the pretty version of it. Raw, preview, visualize, anything like that. Okay, so these are the data that you will see. Anyway, what you could also do is we could create a new, duplicate this, let's rename it and call it users. When we go to users, we duplicated it, right? Didn't work. 127.0.0, and yeah, we'll do users. Send user one Harsha Sharma. This is the request. So right now what we saw, one of the issues is that we keep running the program again and again. Every time we change something, we have to do this. So there's something called auto reload, which you can install, which will make sure that if you are changing any particular text in your file, you will still your application will reload and you won't have to run it again. So this is called something called NodeMon that will install. Let's see, then pm install NodeMon. If it's already there, it's not there, I think. And then when we start our application, we can start our application with npx nodemon app.js, npx nodemon app.js. The app has now started. So if I change anything, that will auto reload. So let's say so we were here. So what I'll try to do now is try to create a post request, right? So always add comment, post users listing, post users example. I'm just doing an example. I won't do anything substantial with it. Okay, so if I do this, I'll just change this to post. This remains the same, and what I could do is I could log the request. So I will send it back something. So but before sending something back, what I want to do is I want to console log something. So console dot log what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to print request dot body that I will send from the right window, and I will use something called json dot stringify. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Close it once again. Yeah. Okay. This is pretty fine. So on the right, what do we do? So we will create duplicate of this. Let's rename it also to post. This is a post request. This is a post request, and then if you go into headers, you will be able to see this. The content type. We'll have to insert a content type here. So content type, and we want this to be application JSON. Okay, then we go to body, we'll go to raw, and we'll choose JSON here, and we'll something write username, and these have to be inside apostrophes. Okay, username, let's say something called as I'll just print my name here. Okay, and then even if I want to do something like address, a mobile number, right? So I could do something like and I'll just put it inside quotes as well. Not two of these. I know it must be difficult for you to see the right window properly, but okay, let's send this request. What I'll assume now is, because I'm saving the file right now, I just saved the file, it should have run this code automatically. So when I send this from here, and let me bring it, I cannot bring it more. If I click on send, it should send a request to this server, and on the logs I should see this data. On the right I should see what this. So I will just change it to, this was a post request, this was a post request. Waiting for changes. It has already started restarting to do changes, you see. All right, let's see. Send, could not send, error, connection refused / users. Okay, why? Connection refused. Connection refused. Okay, and why was that? No, it is running this, but this is not my. This is not the file, right? The app.js is not the file that I'm supposed to run. Okay. Let me see what I could do. Could I do /bin /www, right? Yeah, it should be correct now. Ah, thank God it worked. Okay, so this is the actual file. So app.js is normally what we do, but here our main file is /bin www, and that is that this file had to be run. So now that it runs, you see, the data has now come. This is not my number, and you can see this was a post request. All right, so now we have a get request, we have a post request. We can keep on writing more post request here and more post responses, and receive the post request here like we want to. We could also go and create a new file altogether that will be dealing with some new set of APIs, not user APIs, let's say transaction APIs. And then if we do this transaction API sort of thing, if we create this thing, we'll have to add it everywhere. So here in the www, I need to add something. No, in our app.js, we'll go and have to add the path here. I could actually try it while on the call. So let's see, app dot use something called as transaction or something called as, let's say, called order. So place order, something like that, right? So all kind of order data that would go here. So what does it say? Users router, let me just call this order router, and there should be a reference of something user router here. Where is it? Yeah, they have this. I'll just copy this file, I'll paste it here, I'll call it order router, and this will be order orders. Yeah, I'll copy this file, I'll paste this file same place, rename it, and start calling it orders. Now I've got orders. So if somebody calls slash order, this will be something called order listings. These are all your orders. You can post a new order, post request for order route. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Rename, sorry, not rename, duplicate, rename. This is orders. This will be a get request. Actually, this is supposed to post request. Why is the icon as get? Not sure, some bug. Get something like orders. Was it order orders? Let's see. Something wrong. Still something wrong. It is not able to find this. Why? Let us try to debug. If I go to app.js, I see this is there. And we have started listening for it. Order router is there. It was orders. Order, yeah. But to keep the compliance, go by the same code structure that we've got earlier. Let's do this. There's a get request, and get request is not working as of now. We will debug this and fix it. Nothing here. Then let me go to my orders. This you get. This is just comment, so it doesn't have to bother, but we'll just correct it. Okay. Now I'll save this path. Save. Did we save earlier? We had saved, it did not work. Okay, now let me see, add www. Require /app backend server, set port server, listen. Okay, let me try to control shift F. I'll try to find everywhere users. So in app.js, this users router, order router, route orders, routes orders. Okay. Did not work. I'm so bad at it. I'll just make the names same because I'm just starting to get confused slightly. Okay. Go back to index.js. No, not important. Go back to my files. Go back to my orders. Go back to. I know some of you have already figured what error is, though I can't ask you right now because we are not in a live call. So app.js, I go here, orders router. Are all of my files saved even? When you see a dot like this, it means not saved. This is now saved. This file is just not saved already. Orders, save. 127,000 orders, right? So there's a get request, send, and it's something fixed it. What fixed it, I don't know. The naming was wrong somehow, or maybe I had not saved the file. I think not saved the file might be the right reason. So these are all your orders. If I do a post request now, I could just duplicate this again, and I go here, I make it a post request. If I do like this, it will break. This was a post request for order route, but nothing got printed here because no order came in. If I go to body, if I go to again raw, if I go to JSON and I add a new JSON order ID, and I print the order ID here. This order ID. That's it. Send. Okay. So that's it. This was post request for order route. I've got the response here like this, and I also got it printed here. All right. So for today, I think this is what we will stop at. But the next time that we connect, what I'll try to do is I'll have to try to have a DB which will actually have the users table and the authors table, or a new type of system. And then in that DB we'll enter this. So if somebody posts something, it will go into the DB. Somebody wants to get something, it will come from the DB, not the string files like these. So we'll do a much better version of it next time. All right, thank you everyone. Open to all your questions on the video comments or on WhatsApp group. Thank you.